Det stond helt links. In den Innern.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Luxembourg for the second day of the Festival Elsy Jacobs. And today we are on the edge of Luxembourg City for the CESSANGE Luxembourg, which is a circuit race that's going to be held, or is being held as we speak, in the southwest of the city, right on the edge of the city limits. In the small village of CESSANGE. For looking back to yesterday's race, though, it was a master performance by the SD Works team with, first of all, Steffi Harbelin, and now there, Barbara Goriski, doing a lot of the work on the front to make sure that the finish was agreeable for the Dutch team. But there was plenty of action before that went on. With a couple of small crashes, but nothing, thankfully, too serious, before the day's main breakaway headed away up the road. There we had the Cofidis rider Hannah Ludwig. We had Michaela Harvey from SD Works, and also the Liverlula Jaco rider Sydney Svirenga, who did a pretty good job. But in the end, it was down to SD Works with Swiss champion Steffi Harbelin working very hard from a final group. And their two leaders sprinting out, duking out to see who would finish. And neither of them was quite certain when they crossed the line. But as you can see, there was Marta Lack, who took her third victory in 3 consecutive years in Garnich to take the victory in yesterday's race. That was a masterful performance from the Dutch squad, SD Works Pro Time. Afterwards, there were the podium celebrations. And then it was time to take it all back down again. This morning in CESSANGE, we've been signing in with the US team, getting ready while the rest of us were having our sausages, which are very nice, good with the mustard, might I add. City Mesh Custom there, getting ready for another day, hopefully in the breakaway. And as you can hear in the background, they're playing another one of the songs that I have to play in my band. Erin Boothman there, second from the right, who managed to finish 5th in yesterday's stage. And the UAE team development squad there. Volker Vessels giving us all a wave as they signed on. And then another one of the development teams from one of the World Tour squads. That's AG Insurance Sudal's under-23 development squad, who had a particularly good race yesterday. Just 4 women for these 2 races from the Visma Lisa Bike squad. One of those has had a bit of trouble so far in the day, but we'll tell you about that shortly. And then finally, it was the SD Works Pro Time team who signed on for this morning's race. All the national champions were on the front here in CESSANGE. And they rolled out just about an hour ago. And they've done a couple of laps of what is a 15.6 kilometre loop. And as you can see, it starts in CESSANGE and heads southwest out of the city into the countryside. And we'll be doing 8 laps of that 15.6 kilometre loop, creating a race of 125.2 kilometres. There has been a little bit of a change for today's race, with some late roadworks disrupting the organisers' plans. Won't make much difference to the race, makes it slightly longer, and the extra piece is quite narrow, and there's some gravelly sections on the end. But this is the race, if either of the two is set to be contested in a bunch sprint. As you can see at the top left of your picture, there was a crash earlier in the day, but we understand everyone's back in the bunch. The first intermediate sprint of the day was won by Yuldus Hashimi, the Afghan rider from the World Cycling Centre team. And just on the following lap, the beginning of the 3rd of today's laps, was the first of today's Queen of the Mountains, which, well, between myself, Owen Rogers, and my commentator, Christy Majeras, we're not sure who won. The timing has Margot Vigier from Visma Lease Bike, but we think it was Rosita Reinhardt, don't we?
We do. They actually also don't really look the same, so I was actually pretty sure. But I was also sure that yesterday Femke Gerritsen won, so I'm not taking any bets on anymore.
So as you can see on your screens, these are live images, and we do have a little bit of rain in the air. We had a little bit before the race began, just making the roads not even wet, just darker in colour, really. Let's hope it holds off, but there are showers forecast for Luxembourg today. On the back, you have the UAE national champion there. Is Sofia Al-Sayeg, I think is how you say it, from the UAE development team. And other than the other than the intermediate sprint and the Queen of the Mountains, we've not had an awful lot of action. There have been a few sporadic attacks, haven't there?
Yeah, this lap on the opposite hand, like yesterday, where it was easy, or not easier, to make it an aggressive race and maybe to do some splits in the peloton. Today is not so hard from the altitude level meters side point of view, but it does turn quite a lot. So that's today a little bit the hard part, especially with the last minute change they had to do with the walk roads. It does add one or two twisty turns into it. So being in good position is key today. The wind was picking up a little bit this morning when I rode here myself by bike, but it looks like it doesn't do too much damage, as it's mostly headwind or tailwind once you're on the lap.
And you can see with the sort of flat front of the peloton, even though all the teams are together, that it's like that's likely to be into the headwind section, isn't it?
Yeah, I think now they have mostly the tailwind. For coming back, it's mostly tailwind. Yeah, it could be very nice if it was a side wind, because it has some longer straights in on big roads before going into small roads. But yeah, you need to play with what you have, and that's mostly tail and headwind today.
You can see three, well, certainly visible now. You can see two of our development teams, the UAE ADQ development team, and also the development team from Liv Alula Jaco, the women's continental team there. And it's brilliant to see these teams. They're not exactly riding it as if they're developing themselves. They're not here to develop, they're here to win. I was talking to Danny Christmas from the AG Insurance team, who are also there, just on the wheel of the front Liv Alula rider. And I was talking to her at breakfast this morning, and she was saying, well, yeah, we're here to develop people, but through experience of trying to go for the win. And that's the only way, really, isn't it?
You can only learn how to win if you ride, like, if you want to win. Yeah. You cannot win when you're only playing on safety and just trying to follow. You need to take risks, and the risk here is that you blow up yourself, but at least until the point where you blow up, you did exactly like the best in the world. And I think especially Liv Alula Jaco, they yesterday showed a brilliant team performance. Yeah. Maybe the little breakaway, there was one tactical mistake that Sydney from Canada did. Maybe if she is placing this attack one lap later, she can go for the win. But that's also what I say. Yeah, you do mistakes and then you learn out of it, and then you do the mistakes only once, and next time it's better. Yeah,
I spoke to her this morning actually, and she said exactly that. Basically, as she came out of that tight left-hander, she had a bit of a gap, heard that the gap was to the peloton was coming down anyway, so she just thought she should go for it. And she was allowed to go for it by the team. And then in the debrief, you won't do that again, will you? It was a very much, the mistake was very much seen as a developmental thing. And that's the way I mean, she's 18. that it has to be. You learn from your mistakes.
These are definitely the races where you
Yeah.
can make mistakes. If you do this kind of mistakes on World Tour races, then you probably cannot sleep well.
Yeah.
If you some missing bottles here by Nina. If you could go for a World Tour win and then it doesn't happen, of course that's maybe a little bit more frustrating than if you missed a win here. Although a win is a win,
Yeah.
let's say it like that. But yeah, as I said, if you don't try, it doesn't work. And I'm pretty sure that she learned out of this yesterday. Yeah, maybe she should have looked around yesterday, because I'm not so sure that the peloton was actually catching up with them.
Yeah.
The gap was actually increasing. But today is a different story.
Yeah, and that was her on the back there, just taking a drink off her team helper at the side of the road. That was Sydney Swearenga, and you know, when I said how did yesterday go, she said one tactical mistake, but I was pleased physically with her performance at least. So
she did look strong.
She looked really strong.
The three riders that were in front with Hanna Ludwig and Harvey Michele from SD Works Pro Time, they did look strong and they were working fairly nicely together. So that's a good thing to take today.
Yeah.
Well, today, to me, to be honest, I think it's going to be hard to downplay a sprint finish, but you never know.
Yeah, and of course the other. In the end, Swearenga finished fairly well down, but her teammate was one of two riders to bridge from what remained of the peloton to that front group of 10.
Yes.
And that was with Ilse Plomers from AG Insurance, who admittedly is a World Tour rider, but I was talking to her this morning, she was saying she asked for our whole team to work on the front to get her as close as possible, and that's what they did, to see. And she said she was so pleased with the performance of that team and how they set to work when she asked them to do that, and what more can you ask for? And Plomers rewarded the team and her teammates with 4th place, while Erin Boothman from the Liverlula Jacob team was 5th. And they were the two that bridged across. It's brilliant.
Yes.
It's brilliant.
AG was mainly the team that kept the breakaway not far away.
Yes.
They maybe were a little bit less strong than the breakaway every time the road was going up, but they definitely did put a huge effort in on the false flat down parts to bring the time gap down and to keep the breakaway within reach for the peloton. So that was excellent work from them, and the two that crossed then by the end, that was also a very strong effort just before the finish. Maybe that was though also some energy left that they spent that wasn't left for the sprint itself, but you still had to do it, and it shows that Liv and AG, even though they are with their development team only here, they do ride like they know how it works.
Yeah. Danny Christmas was saying this morning the gap was 8 seconds they had it at, so they only had 8 seconds to get across. But when you're in the final 3 kilometres of a fairly hectic race, that's not an easy thing to do, is it?
I mean, I've been quite a lot of time 8 seconds away from something and I never made it back, so 8 seconds can be quite a lot.
Yeah.
So now we're actually in the last kilometer nearly of what will be the finish also. Here we go. That's the red flag of what will be the finish a little bit later on. You will see it's a fast finish and also a little bit technical finish, because you have to go around a roundabout, as the name says. So it's going to be 2 sprints in one. First sprint to go to the roundabout, where you need to be in good position. If you're over, let's say, 8th of position at the end of the roundabout, it's probably too far for winning the sprint. So you have one first sprint to that roundabout where you can see the motorbikes, they're nearly in there. And then it's like around 300 or 350 meters left to the first.
And this is one of the intermediate sprints here. As they're just coming with them. Now they're into the finishing straight. You can see Cofidis just taking the lead. You've got the Volker Wessels team on the left-hand side of your screens, and the UAE ADQ development team on the right-hand side. And you can hear the motorcycles just screaming past us. Hannah Ludwig there on the front for Cofidis. And if we're quiet, you can hear that lovely noise of them whooshing past us. I love that noise.
That's what expensive carbon wheels
That's right, yeah. I've got a set of carbon wheels and they sound quite good. I wouldn't say they're expensive, but yeah.
They're high.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole convoy just rolls through behind them, and it's just such a shame. Though it's not a doesn't count for the Queen of the Mountains competition this time round. You can see this is the climb that they're going up. And if you follow the Festival Elsy Jacobs even, in previous years, you might recognise this because this area, CESSANGE, has been used on a number of occasions for when the race was a stage race. It was used as the prologue on the Friday evening, and it's also been part of this final circuit for the last 3 years since it's gone to 2 individual races, one-day races. And those one-day races sit on the 3rd tier of international racing now. At the top we have the World Tour, which those of you that follow will have just maybe have seen the opening stage of the Vuelta Femenina in Spain. That's World Tour, that's the top level. The second level down is the Pro Series. So the first division, the second division, and this is a 3rd division race, essentially. This is 0.1. It's a 1.1. The first one means it's a one-day race. The second one means it's at level 1. And these are professional level races. The next level down, 0.2, is no longer counted as a professional race, though you will get a mix of teams from all the levels in the peloton.
Yes, the races here in Luxembourg have had different shapes. Let's say that since the beginning of the Festival Elsy Jacobs, it started also with a one-day race. Then it was becoming a stage race with a prologue in. The prologue always happened here. I mean, you started with this nasty steep climb here just to smash your legs from the start on, from the prologue, which was always nice. Actually, I really liked that. And yeah, at one moment we were talking about the Vuelta. The Vuelta was added to the calendar, and that was not necessarily a super good thing for the race here in Luxembourg, because yeah, you don't have 300 girls riding professionally their bikes, so the whole peloton had to divide on this race and on the Vuelta, which made that the organization from the Festival Elsy Jacobs took the decision to go down in the classification, to open it also to more teams than just World Tour teams. It was Pro Tour, then I think it was 1 year also 1.2, and then it stepped up again to 1.1.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think sometimes, or shall I be more blunt, I think there is a lack of coordination to help support the lower levels of racing, and it's as if the only thing that matters is the World Tour, and anything else, whether it be World Tour races and World Tour teams, they're all that matters, and the rest can sort itself out. And you know, any sport must be a pyramid, and so you have to look after the bottom of the pyramid, otherwise the top will crumble in. And I get the feeling that the sport is being directed strategically from the top down, and it's important to develop the top of the sport, but equally it's important to ensure that there's a firm foundation. And I was talking to a rider last night in the hotel who shall remain nameless, and she was saying exactly that she is worried for the if I can say it, the lower level of the sport.
This has never been the lower level of the sport. If you have been looking maybe of the winner list, who won this race, we have Marianne Vos, we have Karja Nevadoma, we have Demi Vollering, we have Anna van der Breggen, we have me, myself and I. And lots of others who actually are the top best in the world now and have been at that time as well. So the best have been here in Luxembourg and have been winning here in Luxembourg. Yeah, the problem is just that if you are in concurrence with the Vuelta, it's a little bit hard.
Yeah. The race now is moving on to this diversion. They've just turned right off the main road, and luckily this isn't as narrow as it looks on Google Maps and Velaview and all that. But it's certainly a point at which every time round they've tried to do something. We've seen Visma Leasebike especially trying to create something out of this little part, especially as here it narrows down, and it's important, especially off that downhill, isn't it, to make sure you've got to be in the right place at the right time in order to maintain your position. And you can see there's just a little bit of a break going here, a little bit of a break. We've got two of the SD Works riders. We've got two from Visma Leasebike. Certainly from SD Works, it's Steffi Habelin and Marta Lack, who won here in this race 2 years ago, and obviously has won in Garnish yesterday and the 2 years before that. We've also got three from the UAE team, ADQ development team. It's a bit like a World Tour race where they've managed to get lots of riders in the final group, haven't they? Harbelin now is nailing it on the front, right down just as she did. We're just going to see a bit of a...
Yeah, so they turn from the big road to, well, it's actually a cycling path. The ones that are living here know that this goes straight to where the cyclocross from the Saftesing, the organizer, is holding their cyclocross. And then they move on to this brand new road. It's very smooth asphalt. But it starts flat and then it's kicking up by the end, and that's probably one of the hardest points of the race lap, because it's already stretched out because of the tight turns. And as you can see, in the beginning it was a little group, but looks like everything is coming a little bit together again. Also because it's mostly, I think, headwind on this part.
Yeah, and we could see Marta Lack doing a bit of work a little bit a few seconds ago, but she's just dropped back just as Volker Wessels has brought the group back together. Would you like to talk a bit about the organisation here, because I call this area, this commune to the southwest of Luxembourg City, CESSANGE. Yeah. But
yes, so this is
CESSANGE as well.
CESSANGE. Yeah, that's always in Luxembourg. You always have a way of saying the town or the city in French, and in Luxembourgish. So in French is CESSANGE, and in Luxembourgish is CESSANGE, which is the town of the club I've been riding for during my whole career. So the Saftesing, they are organizing this race since the beginning, and this is actually then their hometown.
Yeah, so it's important for them to be here.
This is quite important. Yeah, it's also important because this is actually part of Luxembourg City. It's just like a suburb of Luxembourg City, who is also one of the main sponsors of the race. It would not probably be possible to have held this race for all those years without the help of the Luxembourgish city.
And of course, a little word on the race, the weekend itself. Yesterday we were in way over on the Belgian border, really, aren't we? Where we
Pretty
were
close,
yesterday,
yes.
Yeah, in Garnish. I remember one year I drove home from the race here, and I was in Belgium in about 10 minutes. I think.
Well, then you were riding slow, because I think it can go faster than that.
But Garnish is the home of Elsy Jacobs, who, for those of you who don't know, was the first ever road world champion, and she was a proper pioneer within the sport. In that she liked riding her bike, but there was no support from the Luxembourgish Federation, and so she would turn up at races in Belgium and in France and ride her bike and win. So she didn't have much support. There were no races for her here in Luxembourg. And then as she got better and better and better, and the sport grew in both Belgium and in France, she would race over there. And there was a version of the Tour de France in the late 50s. She was part of that. She was the first ever road world champion in 1958, I think, winning in Reims, the home of Champagne, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot's hometown, winning the road world championships there. And also she set the hour record at the Vigorelli velodrome in Milan that same year, 1958. So this race pays homage to one of the absolute greats of women's cycling, and we should remember it for that. You know, women's sport in general has developed, and these women would be on these roads racing. Well, they would be on the road somewhere racing today, with or without her. But the reason we're here in Luxembourg, and the reason the sport was accelerated is partly down to Elsy Jacobs. And so let's just remember her for a little bit, I say. And this is what the race does, of course.
Yes, so the race started back then also because we maybe were also a little bit in the same position back then when it started than Elsy when she started. It's true that when I started riding my bike, there was not such a big culture of women cycling in Luxembourg. No, in general, let's say. It's not necessarily a Luxembourgish problem, or it wasn't necessarily a Luxembourgish problem. And yeah, the main motivation back then from my club was to create an international platform where the Luxembourgish riders, because we were a few, could test their legs out against international riders without having to go too far abroad to race against them. And that's where they had the idea to start this international race, and that was no better idea, I think, than naming it after Elsy Jacobs, because the first race was also in Garnich, so they are really with the race from begin on, and it's more than natural that they picked out Elsy Jacobs to be named after.
I have to say, the day in Garnich is one of the highlights of my year. The smell of the sausages cooking, everything about it, from the beer tent, the sausages, to the race itself, and that lovely curving finish line. As you can see here, this is just a split in the road, which all the riders are aware of. It's in the road book, it's mentioned in the road book, and but that's just to keep the cars off, essentially, because it is in fact a bike path. That's it was Emily Fortin, the Canadian rider who was doing a little bit of off-roading. She's from a place called Laval, which is very close to Quebec. I know that because my wife went to Laval University for
it's a nice area.
6 months. Yeah. She keeps promising to take me back to Quebec, but she's never managed to do it. And of course, she won't be listening.
But maybe if you go to World Championships at the end of the year, then
would be nice.
It's for you.
Yeah, yeah. Emily Fortin, who we just saw, is no relation of the other Fortin in the race, Valentin Fortin, who is in fact French and riding for the Cofidis women's team, and has done pretty well here in the past, I seem to recall.
I think she was on the podium last year on this stage. She's a pretty good sprinter. She's also pretty decent on the track, so that always helps for doing well on in the sprint finish.
Yeah, she's European Madison champion, in fact, at the moment. Plenty of World Cup wins over the years on the track for Valentin Fortin. Won the Madison at the recent World Cup in Hong Kong. I think your former teammate Lorena Vibis was riding in Hong Kong, I think, wasn't she?
Yes, she was riding together with a teammate of SD Works Pro Time as well.
Yeah.
They won the Madison, actually. So Lorena is quite a rider that does a little bit from everything. She does road, she does track. She's also a world champion on gravel, if I remember well. To come back to the race, don't get fooled by the low speed you see now here. The last part of this cycling path is actually quite steep. It's kicking up in different times. Each time a ramp of let's say 150 meters. And as you can see on the side with the grass, there's a full headwind, so that's of course slowing everyone down, but doesn't mean that the power on the power meter is high.
Yeah. You could just see the AG Insurance rider just listening to instructions coming at us. She's been spoken to by the rider behind her, and there's this constant communication that goes on in the race. Nice slow, well, virtually 180 there, back on themselves, and it looks like the AG Insurance riders are just, well, everyone accelerates out of a bend, but they'll be looking to do that, and a little bit more rain coming down as we speak. But looking out of our window, it's not wet. There's some spots of rain on the tarmac, but there's nothing too serious, and it really is. I'm not saying it's a club ride, but there's a lot of talking going on and planning going on. We've got 65 kilometres of this 125k ride left to go. And back on the front, we have the Swiss national champion, Steffi Habelin.
So another Fortin. So is she the sister of the...
No, then
there are 3 Fortins, so 43 is also Fortin Emily.
Yeah, there's only the 2. Yeah, Emily Fortin. Did I not say Emily when I said her name last time?
Oh, my bad, I got it wrong then. It's actually quite, it looks like a very controlled, but if you're riding here in front, it's just to stay, you can see every team is regrouping well together. You have Cofidis, you have AG, then you have SD Works and UAE are really lining up one next to each other to stay in position, to keep the team in position. And riding in front here is not an easy task, as you can see, especially Steffi really tries to get as error as possible to save some watts here and there.
In a few kilometres' time, we've got the next of the Queen of the Mountains points, which comes after the finish line here, and they're just rolling. I say rolling. They're riding now in towards the finish line. They'll come past us fairly shortly, and once across the line, it's a right-hand turn at the end of the road, and they go up that kicker, which is the Rue Turbis or Turbi. Christine, who obviously is from around these parts, is just having to check the road map.
Rue Tubi?
Tubi.
Well, that's pretty French. That's
yeah. Or as it says in the road, but the Côte de Rue Tubi. And it is a steep hill. I don't like that. I'm not sure I could even get up that hill on a bicycle. I'm sure I could. But
yeah, you could. You were just talking about your carbon wheels, so
well, that's right.
I'm pretty sure that you could also go up this climb. It is steep. It never really made a difference, though. Like there was never a break going after it. There was no real splitting, but it's a kind of a lactate climb. So if you go full gas from the bottom to the top, at the top, it's hurting quite a lot, and it's taking a lot of energy out of what it's coming after. So you go up once or twice, it's easy, but after the eighth time, it's not that easy anymore. I always liked doing it at the prologue because you had to go full, because it was just a 5 minutes effort, the whole prologue. But you also knew that after 30 seconds there was still 4 minutes 30 to go, and if you had already blood in the lungs after 30 seconds, it was also not so nice. So every year again there was like talks about how you should approach this climb. And then when you start, you just go, and then all the thoughts were actually for nothing.
For because for the first couple of years it started literally at the bottom, didn't it? The ramp was the only downhill thing about it, wasn't it? You went, well, the ramp was virtually level, wasn't it, and horizontal, and then it went straight up the hill. They had the one year when they started halfway up, didn't they, on the turn and went out across the field. But yeah, it's quite. I mean, it's quite a wall, really, isn't it? If you stand at the bottom, it's got to be 12% or more.
Yeah, it's a wall.
Yeah. It's just calmed down here now. They're coming in towards the finish. They'll be in amongst the houses from the lovely rolling countryside and into the houses very, very soon. But there doesn't seem to be so much effort in the positioning, which has got to be for the Queen of the Mountains. You can just see at the back of the three riders on the left is Scarlett Suren from the Volker Wessels team. She's done well here in the past as well. I think she was second here 2 years ago. And if it comes to a bunch kick, I'm pretty sure that Volker Wessels will be going for her today. And she won't like the hills much, but so she's just putting herself into some slipping room here, isn't she? So it's not a full-on sprint up there. She can still be in the bunch when she gets to the back, I guess.
Yeah, this is really a moment where it's rolling actually quite nice. It's a little bit falls flat up, but here also the surface is really rolling well, especially with wind in the back. So if you want to save some energy, you do like Elena Cecchini here. You just surf in the wheels, and then you do the good move at the right moment to move up, because there are actually 2 points where you need to be in front. That's a little bit with 800 meters to go. And when it turns into this new part with the cycling path where you need to be alert, but for the rest, it's actually easy that you can stay in the wheel.
There's Sydney Suringer, yesterday's star turn, just on the wheel of Talia Appleton, her teammate there at the Liverlugla Jayco team. And the rest of the team are on the front there. So those two have got a different job for today. Appleton, of course, was in that 10-woman group that contested the final yesterday, and then led out her teammate Erin Boothman in the final 2 kilometres, just waving their arms here to warn those behind of a hazard. You can hear motorcycle horns going off, and that'll be because some of the security bikes are desperately trying to get through to make sure that the circuit is safe. Off they go.
This road, on the several editions we did it, it was actually nice side wind. So this is the big long straight I was talking about in the beginning when we started this. This commentary. If the wind is standing nice here, this is actually a perfect street to put it in the gutter.
Yeah.
But you can just tell that the wind situation is absolutely not in favor of anything to do in that way. So yeah, it's also not worth spending too much energy on it.
When I started working at races, I'd never heard the phrase gutter action before. And it's not a phrase I hear anymore, really. No one talks of gutter action. They just talk of echelons and sidewinds and stuff. I think it's such a good phrase, because it literally says what's happening. You're putting people in the gutter to try and split the bunch, aren't you?
Yeah, it's actually a race situation I always liked. It's very nerve-wracking, and it's pretty shit if you don't have the legs, because you know that you're going to spend a very, very bad moment. But if you are in shape and if you are with a good team, because that's the most important, that you are not alone, that you are with a group, then it's actually the most fun part of cycling in my eyes. Climbers will tell you something else, but I will tell you that that's quite nice. Also because you need to be a little bit aggressive, but you also cannot do too much, because if something goes wrong, you are literally in the gutter, and sometimes in the field as well, or in the water. So you never really know what's happening, and that's also part of the excitement that you get when you have a race where the wind is au rendezvous.
It is quite exciting. I remember on my birthday one year going to a race that was organised, in fact, by a company I ended up working for a little bit, called the Tour of Cambridgeshire, which is where I'm from. It's very flat, and even in mid-June, the wind was blowing, and admittedly, it was just an elite level UK race, but it was blown apart, and I got a nice photograph of the groups, just the lovely triangle shapes behind. Number 45 there is Manon Vienne of the Minimax cycling team. Just out of the saddle, she looks to just been struggling to stay in that protection area, which is essentially where you need to be to just take the pressure off. Otherwise, you're just working as hard on the front. But maybe she looked down at a bike there, and she's got a bit of a mechanical. You'll see people with the rain is falling harder now, and there are umbrellas outside, and you can see the state of the road has got actually quite wet there, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's actually raining quite hard at the moment. It will make things a little bit slippery. If it will stay these conditions until the finish, it will be quite hectic ride to the line, because no one wants to take unnecessarily risks. But if you want to win, you also need to take a little bit of risk, and the wet red road will not necessarily help in that.
There's certainly all four Visma Lease bike riders are back in the bunch. But it's interesting to see that I'm pretty sure on the front there, that is Nienke Veenhoven, who will be their sprinter for today, leading out Vigier for the Queen of the Mountains. And there goes Vigier out the saddle. She's got a really good gap here with Steffi Harbelin just trying to close the gap. Harbelin, of course, was Harbelin's teammate, was trying to contest the finish. No one wants to let Vigier get away up the road, and I think that was Marta Lack just trying to close her down. I mean, they would be two really good, strong riders to work together, wouldn't they?
And let's see if they were only there for the GPM, or if they are committing to ride together. For me, it looks like Vigier doesn't necessarily really want to have a breakaway. Marta is a rider that always commits. If she has a gap, then she rides until the gap is coming down. So she probably wants to keep this turning a little bit.
And the Minimax, it's Minimax trying to come across there with one of the with one of the UAE riders, Steffi Harbelin, just sort of tucking in on any wheel that goes. But I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I don't think
this is what I explained early on. It's a very, very hard climb, as you could see. Also, people were struggling. It was lined out quite a lot. That was actually a full effort, I think, from the two girls that did the mountain sprint. But after 30 seconds after the climb, everything comes back together. So it's a painful one, but it's one that doesn't necessarily makes decisions.
Right, and here we have one of the UAE ADQ development riders just attacking off the front, and SD Works, after a brief attempt to try and close it down, SD Works are trying desperately to close that down themselves. I couldn't see which rider it was. Was it?
I think it was Harvey.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah, with the blonde ponytail. Yeah. And
the goal of SD Works Pro Time, I think this time, is really not to miss any breakaway. Not necessarily maybe to push in the breakaway, but they don't really want to ride behind it, I guess. And they are with 6, so it's pretty easy to play the game and to always have one in bigger groups, of course.
I think they'll be happy to let one rider from a team like Mendelspec go, but no, Harvey's off after that as well, which is interesting to bring that back. I mean, but the trouble is, of course, that anything gets away out the road, everyone's going to look at SD Works, aren't they?
Yeah, now it was Marta closing the gap. I think it would not necessarily be a problem to let one rider alone go, but it really depends on what also was the idea at the beginning of the race. Do they want to have a sprint, or do they also are open for breakaways? So if you really want to have a sprint, then you can let one rider or two rider go. But if you're also okay with a breakaway, of course, then you cannot necessarily miss it.
There's an art to what's happening in the race at the moment, and that is to putting in the right amount of energy in trying to get away and putting in too much when it doesn't work. And I just felt that that this rider, who is Talia Appleton, is clearly struggling today. Ooh.
Now we have Nina Barton, who is attacking with Steffi Haberlinen trying to bridge over. She had an okay race yesterday, but I think she was though a little bit disappointed not being able as a lone rider, because normally she's used to ride with EF as a group. Now she's with the national team only. Then of course she only has to look after herself, but there's also no one looking after her, which makes positioning a little bit harder. And I think she noticed that riding like this is a little bit harder than with your trade team yesterday. So I know that she maybe wants to be a little bit more active today, and that's what she's showing today.
And of course, she's by far and away the most accomplished rider in that joint national Luxembourg-Iceland team, isn't she?
Yeah, yes, of course. I mean, if you're riding for a World Tour team, and also with the season she has had until now on the road, there's nothing she should be afraid of.
Now, we've just been told that Vigier has the Queen of the Mountains competition, having won both the first and the second, though we're still unsure whether or not it was her or Rosita Reinhauer.
Then probably it was her.
Yeah, I think
maybe
they've
not
got
really
the transponder
yet
on her bike, yeah. And they're back on the front there, or close to the front. We've got the USA team in that. This is the debut for that very attractive Rafa kit.
It's nice, but
it's really
if it's
nice.
Starting to rain, it's a little bit less nice.
Yeah.
White clothing is always nice when the weather is perfectly shining sunshine, which is not always the case in Luxembourg. So
Never.
Not always. It can be. But it's a lovely design. I always like it when they had this old design for quite a long time, so it's always nice also for the riders if they can change clothing, as you are wearing for the same thing for years and years. It also adds a little bit of excitement.
Yeah, when I saw it yesterday, I thought that was very, very attractive. Yeah.
So we could see that with the bad weather now, this twisty turning section going into this cycling path got a little bit harder. There was a little split, but here again, just seconds after everything regroups. So yeah, it's a lot of efforts for in the end, not so much output. Yeah. I would, at least if you have a 6-rider team, say two riders to save, and that 4 riders can play the game and go into the attacks, but that 2 riders absolutely need to save a little bit energy, which is not necessarily the case for Visma, because they only have 4 on the line.
So they have to try and dictate the race, really, don't you? Because they need to protect their sprinter, Nienke Veenhoven. So this will be Katarina Sadnik, the Austrian rider. But once again, SD Works are absolutely on everything, and it seems to be Steffi Haberlin's job to cover anything that moves, essentially.
She had a really strong race here last year on this lap. I remember really well. She was solo, I think, and nearly made us lie about this is going to be a sprint race. So I guess she has some quite good memories on it.
When I saw her at the sign-on, she was quite downbeat about the fact that she was caught with 1,500 meters to go.
I do remember, but it was also, I think, one of those races where it made maybe a little bit click for her.
Yeah.
She came from the mountain biking, and last year I think was the first full road season that she started, and now this is actually a group the first group that gets a little bit of a gap. It's also a pretty big group. Must be around 8 riders with 1 Fassa Bortolo rider trying to bridge over. Yeah, so I said last year was for Steffi maybe also this race a sign that yeah, she has the strength also on the road to really go for it. She had a pretty decent season last year. Maybe she's missing a little bit the regularity or the little kick to really make the difference. But it's also hard if you're coming from that long from a different discipline and then you go on the road. Not everyone is Pauline Ferrand-Prévot who can do the switch
That's
it's
right.
nothing. So most riders need to adapt 1 season or 2, and that's what she's.
I kind of got the feeling that people had forgotten that Ferrand-Prévot had been a fairly decent road rider, you know, world champion in 2014.
Yeah.
Before she went off to the mountain bike, and they kind of forgot.
I did not forget.
No, you wouldn't. No, but I kind of had that feeling that last year it was, oh, well, you know, she's new to the road. Well, not really, you know.
No, but though you have to admit that it's 2 different disciplines, and it's your body has to be a little bit different. It's different way of riding, and where Pauline in the beginning, when she won Flash, for example, or when she became world champion, she had, I think, more of a punch and more of a kick, whereas that kick she didn't really needed it in mountain biking, so she more developed of a diesel. It was just going hard for a very long time, and now she is that kind of rider, and that's also making that she's stronger now, rather on the longer climbs than on the punchier ones where she was the best at a younger age.
And she certainly showed that at the Tour de France last year, didn't she? I mean, she absolutely dominated both those finishes, didn't she?
Oh yeah, there was no nothing to do about that, I think.
No.
It will be interesting to see how it's going for a second season. I also have a hard time telling if Demi last year was at 100% or if she was missing a little bit to her normal power. I'm looking forward to see that little fight this year.
Certainly an aggressive intent coming here from Visma Lisa Bike, and the rider we believe is Katarina Sadnik. She is really putting some big power down on these little kickers, as is Harbelin here now, just coming through. It'd be interesting to get the numbers of this group. We've got 2 from Liv, we've got AG Insurance, we've got Volker Wessels, Top Girls Fassa Bortolo, UAE. I think that's Nina Berton, isn't it?
Yep, Nina is trying to bridge. So we still have let's say 800 meters quite tough, and then they turn right to the big road where they have tailwind. So it will be interesting to see if this stays out once they go on the big road, and if the group then can organize itself pretty quick to keep it rolling.
Yeah, they're pretty close though now, the bunch, aren't they?
Yes. But it's also now dropping out from the back, which was not necessarily the case the laps before. So it shows that the speed really is picking up now, and it gets more and more aggressive. Behind you have AG, although they have one rider in front. So this looks also a little bit like they are maybe blocking it a little bit from the back.
And now you've got City Mesh on the front there, and AG back on the front. So, and again, the Sadnik here from Visma Lisa Bike is going proper hard up this climb. Berton is in that group, and one of the other Liva Jaco riders has just slid out the back, and the Fassa Bortolo rider is dying 1,000 deaths, trying desperately to hold the wheel. But they're over the top now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty much there. Just a little bit more falls flat up, and then they turn to the right. We have Gwen Newton also now, who had to drop back out of this group, who was another Luxembourgish rider. But now, yeah, this was a very, very hard effort for everyone, also the ones that were just hanging in the last reel here. You could see everyone suffering.
Is it just, the ability to ride in that sort of sudden, it's not freezing, but the cold shock that rain brings. Is it a physiological thing? Can you train it? And just before you answer, you can see there's a massive gap they've got now. They've got a proper gap.
Yeah, I think this really last effort from the Visma rider really brought this gap up. Now, as I said, they're on the big road. What is now important is that they get organized as quick as possible. If they now start looking at each other, they quickly lose seconds and speed and momentum, especially. And if the group behind, the peloton behind, is organized better than that, then it's not such a good thing. But it looks at least like the four big teams, which is Visma, SDWorks, UAE, and Liv are trying to get the group organized. But it would be actually nice to have everyone turn instead of taking long pulls here.
I'm guessing Nina's going to give it a go once she's able to come through, isn't she? She's interested in making a group off the front, isn't she? So
yes, of course. I mean, she also had to do a little effort to come back because she missed it the first time. So she also maybe wants to recover. For 10 seconds or 20. But once that is done, the more experienced riders in here need to motivate everyone to just roll through. It doesn't really make sense to take super long pulls here. I think Steffi should just take over. Quick pull in the front and then go back, let it turn so that the speed is never dropping. Yeah, this is what's happening when some riders are doing very strong pulls. You have breaks in between. I mean, they need to also turn around now, analyze who's there, which team is represented, is everyone in it, or is a team not here? And if not, then they probably are gonna ride in the bunch. But to be honest, I think all the big teams are in front.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So we have Nina Lavenue from AG. We have Vollering Bondin from AG, from Volker Wessels. We have Sadnik from Visma. Magdalena Lois from the UAE team. From the American team, it's Lydia Cusack. Nina Berton, we mentioned already, and then Steffi Herberlin from SDWorks Pro Time. Did I get them all? No, Liv, we missed. Oh, it's Erin Boothman from Liv, your sprinter favorite. So it's actually a nice,
proper strong group. Yeah.
And Nina wanted to jump the turn, I think. She should know this road though. It's a nice group. We have some good sprinters in. Others that are climbing, like Steffi. She can really do well on the climbs. It looks like the girl from Visma also has good climbing power, because she really broke this group apart on the last kicker. So let's see how the peloton is reacting behind, because at the moment we don't have any pictures from the peloton, so it's hard to predict if this is a good thing or not.
It looks like it's working well together now, with Cusack coming through there for the USA team, and Sadnik is still doing the lion's share of the work, though, isn't she? She's being forced to do the. I think they've just actually, what they've done is change the direction they're turning, because the wind's not where they thought it was. But and the peloton, who's that? Someone is trying to drag it along on the front there, but with just under 50 kilometres to go. And such a big group. I don't know what's going to happen. This theoretically, if they work well together, could stay away, couldn't it? Because there's so many of the teams are represented.
Yeah, I think apart from Cofidis, which I didn't
Yeah.
see now,
No.
the bigger teams are all there, but it has to organise.
Boothman swings out there, and she's looking over her shoulder, and this could be the breakdown. I mean, unless Sadnik is going to be the one that takes responsibility to keep it going, and there you've got the rider Lavenu from AG Insurance. She swings out, and there's no real cooperation now. The race direction car going in the gap, which would suggest that it's a decent gap that this group of 8 have, but there's not enough commitment here, is there?
No, no. That would be a lie, saying that they are working well together. I also do think they are turning the wrong way, But still, the more experienced rider here need to step up, need to take a little bit responsibilities, show that they are willing to ride, to bring the gap a little bit up, and then at some point, hopefully, everyone will smell the chance of victory,
Yeah.
and then also try to pull through.
That was Magdalena Leis from the UAE team just pulling off there and going to the front. This is Lavenu from the AG Insurance Soudal development team. I wouldn't mind one of those. Nice specialised tarmac. Take home with me.
Go and ask.
I don't think they'll give me one of those. Will they? Sort of 12,000-15,000 pounds worth of bicycle. I'd be very lucky.
Yeah, missing twice the bottle under these conditions is, or even 3 times. Yes, 3 times.
Yeah.
It's not really easy to grab a bottle under these conditions. It's not really cold, but it's wet. They are also quite, even if this falls flat falls flat up, they are also quite fast. We have Cofidis riding with Bolova, the Czech Republic champion, which is quite normal because this is the only team actually that the bigger team that missed it.
And that's Ludwig in second wheel there, isn't it? After her exploits yesterday, she was so strong yesterday.
And they also have a rider with Valentine Fortin who can do really well on the sprint, so I guess they are committing to try and bring this back.
And a rider who knows the sprint as well from last year. You know, she was second here last year, wasn't she?
Absolutely. So if the conditions are like that and you don't manage to grab a bottle, then it's maybe sometimes easier to call the car and grab your bottle from the car. But at the moment they don't have enough of a gap to allow the car to go between the breakaway and the bunch.
This is interesting. 182 there. The French rider Lavenu now is fully committed to this. Fully committed. She's obviously got the go-ahead from behind. I think they were going to be looking for a sprint with Ilse Plomers, but now go for it. 47 kilometres to go, and now they're working. It seems to me. I'm not sure about the Volker Wessels rider, Bodine Vollering, who of course is Demi's sister. I'm not sure what's happening with her, but you can see 2 riders on the front here from Cofidis. They'll be taking turns to try and bring it back, but directly on their wheel. We have a whole cluster of teams who are represented and whose job, if they can, if they have the opportunity, will be to interfere with the pace in this chase and let the advantage grow as the race goes on. 47 kilometres, it's horrible, filthy weather, and you'll see a lot of people dropping out the back, won't you?
Yeah, actually I was also not expecting it to be that bad, because I also came by bike and I am not looking forward to go home under these conditions. Now we're going into the next GPM. I don't think that Nina she can still win it. I think it's kind of decided with if Vigier won the 2 first ones.
Yeah. This is the next sprint, by the way. Vigier's got it. Anyway.
It's the sprint.
Yeah.
Okay. Nina was doing the first mountain sprint, so. That's something she probably had in her head to do at the beginning of the race.
Hear a bit of a cheer there. Someone cheering for Erin Boothman, the Scottish rider. She went past. Cofidis still on the front, but they don't appear quite as committed as they did a little while ago. You can see Burlova has, well, I say you can see Burlova has disappeared. Burlova has disappeared. She's no longer there. Just got a stopwatch on this to see what the gap might be. It's good to see there's absolutely zero delay on there, but it's certainly over 30 seconds. I'd guess at 35 seconds is the gap for this group at the front.
It's a nice situation, I have to say. It's a big group. Nearly everyone is represented. It looks like they're also motivated now that the group settled down a little bit, that they could watch who's in it, who's not in it, that they can start working smoothly together without killing each other. The peloton, apart from Cofidis, who tried to ride, and now Fassa Bortolo, who's trying to kind of attack, but this is not going anywhere.
Is this a good place to try and bridge across? You can see Rosita Reinhardt, the Visma Lisa bike rider, just trying to come over the top there and steal any. Well, there's no points left on this, so 5, 3, and 1 for the first 3 over the line. So there's no points left. AG Insurance on the front, but just covering that Fassa Bortolo move, which is just swallowed up with no difference. You can see the timings just come up on the screen there at 35 seconds. And Vollering there on the back. It's interesting when you have a look at the styles of the riders going up that little kicker there, the Queen of the Mountains climb. She doesn't look a lot like her sister, who would have gone up there at double the pace, I'm sure. She could see she's just struggling with the momentum going up there.
She's also way younger than Demi, so give her a chance.
Yeah. Minimax now move to the front of the peloton as it flattens out over the top. They're heading back sort of southwest out of the city now. And Minimax are trying to take responsibility with the Top Girls Fassa Bortolo team right on their wheel. We've already seen them trying to bring this back. You know, these are 2 of the lower level continental teams that they're not development teams for one of the world squads. So, you know, what can we expect from these? I'm not sure we can expect them to bring it all the way back. It's just, for me, I think 35 seconds they could well stay away, this group.
Yes, because now they really start to work well together. Although it's quite long still with 43 Ks to go. For me it seems to be a little bit complicated. Although the only chance for the peloton to come back is that one of the rider represented here in front is not the good rider.
Yeah,
it's not the rider that is able to win, and that the team decides to bring it back. I don't know. Let's say, for example, Visma still wants to have a sprint, and then the girl in front is not their main card, so they try to bring it back. But at the moment, it really doesn't look like it. Everyone is going through now, not counting the effort. So it looks like every one of these girls got the go from the car that they can grab their chance in this breakaway. Yeah, the shape of the peloton also doesn't really show that this is a very efficient chase behind. The peloton is taking the whole road, which isn't proof of high speed.
It's difficult to work out who we think might be the winner from this group here.
It's also we have to expect also still something to happen with this front group.
Yeah.
It's not because they are now 8 out and that they are riding nicely together that this will then be a sprint with 8 on the line. As we could see the lap before, it seems to me like some of the girls are though way stronger than the others when it comes into those kickers. So I can imagine that this group first tries to get a little bit of an advantage. Then is settling down speed a little bit to recover, and then when we come more to the final, the girls that are maybe not so confident with their sprint will try to bring this group from 8 to maybe 3, and then increase like this the chances of a win.
Certainly Boothman will be the best sprinter amongst that group, I think. But then Boothman's 19 years old, and does she have the physical maturity to keep it going? I mean, we're going to find out, I think. But she would be my pick for the sprint. But then it's a very, very young breakaway. Perhaps the peloton here is very, very young, really. But yeah, we've got a number of riders who are under 19. But certainly it's good to see Fassa Bortolo there on the front of the race. They've got 2 on the front there. They've got 2 just a tiny bit further back who are committing to try and bring this chase back. But still at 35 odd seconds, this is it's not a done deal just yet, I suppose, is it? I'm thinking Sadnik there just missed a turn, didn't she? Didn't she let the following through?
Yeah, but maybe she didn't like Nina's wheel and she preferred following's wheel. No, that's not necessarily a sign. Sometimes you just miss the momentum and then the wheel is gone and then you say, okay, now I just wait the next turn and then it's all good. It's not necessarily done on purpose to jump a wheel. It can happen.
The whole Fassa Bortolo team, I mean, it's pretty distinctive kit, really, isn't it? Is now they're around the front. City Mesh also showing themselves, but like Fassa Bortolo, have they got the strength to work together? I think. I mean, it's going to take a concerted effort, I think, to bring this back from one or more teams, isn't it?
I also don't really trust the time gap.
No.
Because it didn't move for a very long time, and yesterday they had 30 seconds and then all of a sudden the peloton was nearly back, so I'm also now hesitating a little bit to tell if that's the true gap or not. Yeah, for me it seems to be difficult if that Fassa Bortolo can bring this all alone back, if these girls keep committing to it like they are doing right now.
I understand the advantages of disc brakes and everything, but I don't like that noise. I've got very sensitive ears, you know, and it's not.
Yeah,
nice.
but I prefer to hurt my ears than to hurt my body. It's just like music in your ear.
It's not like music at all.
By the way, why do you brake? If you brake, you lose.
I think I said to some of the riders this morning, after explaining how I don't go out in the rain, that I also said I didn't use quite these words, that I'm not very good at going downhill and I'm not very good at going uphill, and in the flat I'm okay unless it's windy. So
that's a lot of conditions.
Yeah, so it's difficult being me. But they are working at least today. But it's undulating, and that sort of up and down thing does upset the rhythm of the working together, doesn't it?
If you have a group of very experienced rider, it should not make a big difference. But you said very well that this is a very young a very young Breakaway. I think we got the confirmation that we have 4 of the 8 who are still under 23.
20, yeah.
So they maybe don't have yet this feeling that you can also ride smooth when it's going up and down. Yeah, but it should not necessarily be a problem, because I can see that the more experienced riders, they are taking the responsibility to lead the group through those more technical areas. And now, yeah, for me, this really looks like the peloton is shutting down. You have AG, you have Jumbo blocking the road. SD Works Pro Time also coming up on the right. So the speed is just completely gone in the peloton. Especially they're going down now the downhill. If they really ride slow down the downhill, this will add another more seconds to the Breakaway. And yeah, this for me, I think it's a written story.
So of the Breakaway, Lydia Cusack from the US team is only 19. Magdalena Leis from the UAE team is 18, and then we have Nina Lavanu and Erin Boothman from AG Insurance and Liverlula, respectively, are both 19. So it is young. I mean, they wouldn't be on the teams that they're on if they weren't good enough to ride. But it's just that level of experience, isn't it? And have they got the physical maturity to just cope with the older and probably stronger riders? Boothman that just trying to come through there, which shows good commitment, because I felt a little while ago she might have been struggling, but no, she's swung her arms. She's come through. For me, if this stays together, Boothman, and I'm supposed to give you the first choice, but I'm bad at predictions.
Yeah, I wouldn't put my hand in fire, to be honest.
But if she's struggling on the climbs, obviously that's going to dent her sprint. But she's certainly not just a sprinter. She is very much more of an all-round rider, and a decent classics rider as well. So,
to me, very honest, I think that the win is in front, but that this group hopefully will still split apart.
Yeah.
And that's only then when we can say who's potentially the winner, because I have the feeling that we have more riders that are a bit struggling, especially on this part here where it goes up, where they made the difference the lap before. So I really expect some more action, maybe in the second last or last lap, because I'm pretty sure some of the girls don't necessarily want to go to the sprint. Because also, if you're riding at the World Tour level, you kind of know everyone. You know the level of the other ones, because you're racing each other every day or every weekend at least. So you kind of can position your level compared to others. If I was riding here, some of these girls, I would not have absolutely no idea how fast they are in the sprint, because and I would never, for example, Steffi, I don't think she raced against any of these riders until now. So that's also a lot of taking risks then, to go to the line with riders where you actually don't really know what you can expect from. So at that point you should try to at least bring the group a little bit down with the numbers. Yeah.
In Boothman's defence, we can see this slow motion of her saying, "Come on, let's keep working together." She won the, and I admit, it's only a junior race. And the nation, but it is a Nations Cup race, so the top level of junior race. Oh, here we go. Counter attack here from Martelac and Margot Vigier. Yeah. They'll be trying to get across, and that has caused some consternation, should I say, in the chasing bunch, with AG Insurance Soudal now chasing it. Got another one of the SD Works riders close at hand, and then behind her you've got another one of the Visma Lisa bike riders. So this has certainly put the cat amongst the pigeons. But as I was saying about Boothman, she won the Classica de Jaén Nations Cup race last year, which is gravel and hills in Andalusia. And that's a lumpy old race. Longer climbs though, so we could, and she won it from a sprint from a small group. So, in fact, beating Paula Ostiz, who did so well at the Worlds last year and European. So, who is one of Spain's big hopes. Now, Lac and Vigier go together, and they are now working to take the win. This would give both teams double insurance on the front of the race, but it also could mess up the whole status of the race because it will cause chases to come out of the peloton. But we know Lac is a decent sprinter. Vigier started her racing life racing crits in Barcelona in the sort of Spanish scene when she was at university. So we know that these two riders are no mean bike riders. But of course, further back, SD Works have Hertha, don't they, to take on the sprinting duties if it does all come back together. If, for instance, Lac has invested too much of her power in this, we know if it comes back, you've still got. Be interesting to see.
We are missing now also the time gap, so yeah. I don't really know where the break is compared to these two. Why are they going when they have a rider in front? Well, that's probably what I.
But
have
look
been
how
saying.
small the chase is.
Yeah, it's not really. I think it's an AG rider trying to, because they also have a rider in front, but they also want to have two, because if other teams have two, then they also want to have two. That's a never-ending story actually. Why are they jumping or trying to jump when they have a teammate in front? That's what I said before. Maybe they are not really confident in the abilities of the rider in front to win out of this group, and that's why they have to go to try and bridge over.
I don't know how well you know Steffi Havelin, but how is her sprint?
Well, actually, I never teamed with her up. She joined the team when I stopped my career, so I never could test it out myself. But I think she must have a pretty good kick. But is it enough against riders with a little bit more weight to power ratio? Because she's actually more of a climber. I cannot tell.
And certainly Katarina Sadnik, the other Visma Lisa bike rider, who is already up the road, her best results come on hilly courses. So she's very much the climbing type. So does she have no confidence in her in her kick at the end? So is that why they've said, or is one team just monitoring the other? Just the way
I don't know who started the game here.
Just comment on the way. These two expertly negotiated that crossing. Mind you, they've just gone across the white paint there, but just trying to keep off the white paint, straight down the black bit. But how is the white paint in Luxembourg for slippiness?
As slippy as everywhere else.
Oh, okay, yeah. France has a reputation for having very slippy bits. But,
they have also slippy bits when it's not white.
Yes, yeah. Oh, Cusack is really struggling to take a bottle. Well, that's 5 we've seen her miss. She's gonna, couldn't get one off Visma Lisa bike. No, neither from Das Hutchinson, and she's got one from Volker Wessels. Or has she?
No.
No. Oh, that's just such a disaster, isn't it? Is that 6 we've seen, or 6 we've seen her miss?
Yeah, it can happen. I'm not going to judge it. It's really not easy. You can see that Vigier, she was cleaning her hand just before she tried to grab the bottle. Just to make sure that it sticks to her hand. If your hand is already wet and cold, well, then it's not making it any easier. They made the gap a little bit from the peloton, but they also still quite far away from the group in front. So this is actually a quite big effort to try and come over, because the group in front has actually good speed, and they are all, I think, nearly all riding through. We see Nina now coming to the line. She's, of course, is very pleased with this situation.
She's looking good. Look at just love to see a rider that's completely still from the waist up. It just, I know it's all about core and position, isn't it? But it's just lovely to see. These two, I think these two are stuck a bit in no man's land, or let's say no woman's land.
We could call this a chasse patate.
Yeah.
And a chasse patate should never last too long, because as you might make it back, but then you completely empty it yourself.
Yeah.
You can see on the faciès from Marta that she's not counting her effort, so this is not an easy ride at all she's doing.
She's looking at her power then, do you think? Thinking, oh, what am I, where am I? Because it's difficult to feel what you're doing when you've just had the cold numbness of the rain come down on you, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, at that point of view, at that point of the race, now you actually just have to, make the effort as quick as possible, because as long as this effort is lasting, the worse it gets. And to be honest, I think it's a little bit a lost effort, to be honest, because I can tell that the group here is already downhill direction to the finish, and it looks though that the two, they do not really increase the gap from the peloton. And with only two of them, it's a different speed than with 8 rolling through here.
Cusack does have a bottle on her bike. At least she's got a bottle. I got the feeling the last time we saw Lac and Vigier that Vigier wasn't coming through. Cusack's, as we said earlier, is only 19, and she's riding regularly for a Belgian club team, and actually she won the Droven course from a Breakaway last year when riding for a British junior team, the Tofauti Everyone Everywhere, I think they were called last year, which is where Boothman was, in fact. So it'll be interesting. I mean, she knows what she's doing, but hand up looking for more drink. Yeah,
she's doing what I suggested, that she needs to go to a car, and her car is actually there.
Yeah,
they probably saw her failed attempts to grab a bottle on the TV, and were allowed to come with the car, so she can get one from the car straight away.
That is an indication of just how big that gap is. If the team car has been allowed to come up to the breakaway, it tends to be, for a team car to come up, over a minute, doesn't it?
Yeah, but sometimes if a rider is in difficulties in front, they also let one car through if the gap is less than a minute. I don't think it's over a minute, to be honest. And I also don't really think it's her car, because she's not going back to it. But at least she should just take any bottle that shows up to her.
What's the score? Would you try it on and go back to an opponent's team car to try and get a bottle? Would that be a reasonable thing to do?
If it's my friend, I would do it. And I only have friends.
Just coming through the finishing line here now, with 2 laps of the day left to go. And we've got a stopwatch on just to check that timing.
Yeah, the peloton is really close to the two. They're gonna be caught, I think, by the time they arrive, at least at the top of the climb. It also looks like Vigier is putting way less energy into this breakaway than Marta. It was a nice attempt to get some more numbers in front, and maybe to get the better numbers in front, the better sprinters in front than what they have at the moment. But yeah, they spent quite a lot of energy. That's nearly 40 seconds if I see right on your phone.
Yeah, it's 35 seconds basically for Marta Lac and Margot Vigier, and then the peloton are just another 4 or 5 seconds behind. Certainly Nina Berton putting a brilliant effort in on the front now. She's going to want to get away, isn't she, basically, to win the race?
She also developed quite a good sprint, I think. But yeah, for sure, she's more the offensive rider type of rider. She wouldn't wait for the sprint. I think she tries to do something before the line.
Marta's face, I rarely see her pull such an effort face. She's really trying to keep it away up this climb. But Vigier's just been sitting on for the last 2, 3, 4 kilometres, and these two are about to be caught. And we're inside the last 2 laps now with 30 kilometres, just over 30 kilometres left to go, and they're back with the Volker Wessels team just bringing it back together. Michaela Harvey from the SD Works team is just on her wheel, and Sadnik, the Visma Lisa bike rider, is working well on the front now. She's taken over there from Berton, who's slipped out to third wheel, with Steffi Harbelin in second wheel, and we can see this group is working really well together. It's good to see so much commitment, and of course on a stage which we've said, or on a race that we've said is bound to be a sprint.
Yes, we can maybe thank the rain for bringing a little bit more action in it. I cannot remember this race finishing not in a bunch sprint, to be honest. So that would be nice actually, that the brave ones get away with a reward. We love breakaway wins. But I'm just a little bit impatient now, because I want to see a little bit more. I want to see an attack again from this breakaway. Not that I don't want to see a sprint with those 8. I'm pretty sure that there will be more. There will be more to come.
Kate Richardson is the the Hansling Alba rider on the front of the peloton, which does look as if it's virtually sat up. Basically, it was spread wide across the road, whereas these 8 are working pretty well together.
You know, there were 2 very strong riders who tried to bridge with Marta and Vigie Margot, and they didn't succeed. So that's not a very motivating thing for everyone else to try and do it themselves. If the stronger rider from the peloton will not succeed, then I guess no one will. And by the time now the group in front still is working good together. So.
See, what was interesting for me was as Berton got to the top of the climb there, Boothman was still on her wheel, and even though it's split, the 3 of them just got away. It was still Boothman there on. So,
I mean, very very clearly we think that she's the best sprinter.
Yeah.
So she can really rely on her finish. All she needs to do is be there in the climbs, on the climbs, and then that's all she has to focus on now. Actually, just making sure that they bring her to the line. She finished second, I think, in Omloop Borselen. Which is a sprint race. So she knows exactly how to sprint. It's also one of those races where the big sprinters won in the past, so it's not also just a small race. It's a very good indication.
Just behind Nicole Stechinger from the AG Insurance team. So what we also saw though was Lydia Cusack here at the back, off the back a little while ago. So it strikes me that she is starting to suffer a little bit, possibly for the lack of nutrition getting in her through her drinks. I mean, she'll have gels, but you need to keep both going in, don't you? Really, to keep all that glycogen stores going, and the liquid helps the gel get around the body as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, fueling is becoming more and more an important subject. Most of us have been under fueling over years, and now the education the riders get from now is that you actually cannot have enough. So you don't want to have the energy level dropping down. If you're missing one bottle, it's not so bad, but if you're missing several, especially under conditions where the rain takes more energy out of your body than sunshine would, you maybe regret. She has a SD Works bottle on her bottle, so maybe she has a friend.
Yeah.
I'm not so worried. I don't think it's coming from the fueling. She has been sitting on the last position already for quite a while. You can see after every corner when she needs to go and sprint to come back into the wheels that she's struggling a little bit. That's also the kind of efforts that if you don't race enough, I don't have to her race program in front of me, but if you're racing against girls that have already 20 race days in the legs since the beginning of the year, it's of course something different. I know that the US girls often they come. It's only her third race this year. That's what I was saying. Yeah. I know that the girls that are coming from overseas, especially the Americans, the Canadians, they start their season actually always quite late. And while all the European riders or the riders on European teams have already quite good race legs, the Americans and the Canadians are still searching for them.
It's a finance thing, of course, them coming over, you know, especially a 19-year-old like Cusack, getting over here to the to Europe to race.
To be honest, I think it's also healthy that she's not here already for months with 19. So it's actually a good thing that they are not too long away from home. It's one of the main difficulties that the non-European riders are experiencing, that they are far from home, far from family, that they often have no one here, and it's not such an easy situation for that young.
Everything's difficult when you're that age, isn't it? Is it difficult from a cultural perspective coming to Europe, from a language perspective, probably unless you're in the UK. The racing is different from what it is in the States. You go, you know, the roads are different. I don't want to sound too negative, but kind of everything is against them. So those riders that do get through are exceptional, aren't they?
They are all exceptional because it's
here we go.
It's a rough life, and I have full respect for all those riders that are trying to live their dream overseas, they just need maybe a little bit more help than the European riders.
So Rosita Reinhout here from Visma Lease a Bike, just putting a big effort in on that climb. She's taken Femke Herita with her, and I can't quite see who the riders are behind. You've got one from Volker Wessels, you also have one from City Mesh Custom, and of course one from the AG Insurance Sudal team. That she's just about to get onto the back there. This is another concerted effort to get across, isn't it? But also we see how the chasing, what's left of the peloton is chasing hard, but is also falling apart behind. So this could be a big change in the race. But does Femke look committed to coming through there? Do you think?
No.
No.
I think that was a polite turn for her.
Yeah.
The only, I think, to be honest, I think it's too late unless these girls are really starting to looking at each other, and also you need to have a bigger group, at least 4 riders, not only 2, because if you're only 2, then it's too much of an effort to try and come back. So if you have 4 or 5 riders that really commit, potentially yes, but it's still a very, very strong effort they need to put in, and they need to rely on this group looking at each other.
That was an interesting point, though, as the motorbike let the 3 rearmost riders, Cusack, Lavenu, and the rider from Volker Wessels, who is Badine Vollering. Just interesting that they've been off the back. So
they came back.
Yeah, but if they've been off, enough pressure will see them go completely, won't it? Which could change the dynamic here. We've certainly got a bit of an effort here with UAE ADQ now trying to put in an effort to come past. They've got Bulova from Cofidis now. Cofidis thinking coming back to the wheel, but I can't see many teammates further back. It's just Bulova just coming through. And again, we've got one of the UAE riders chasing her own rider in the breakaway. So.
Yeah, this is a stop and go.
Yeah.
It looks like the peloton is quite active, but it's not something consistent. They pull up a really high pace and then it stops again, where on the other hand you have this group. Maybe the top speed is not as high as in the peloton, but it's just consistent speed until now. It will not happen on this lap, apparently. We will not. They are not quite there yet at the top of it.
Be interesting if we can get a view of the peloton as they come out of those woods there, and then maybe get a clock on that to see. Oh, they're just coming up to the split in the road as well, aren't they? Perhaps that will be the best point to.
Yeah, you can though see that there's a start of change of riding in front as well. You can see that some riders are now already thinking of what's coming. Maybe putting a little bit less effort in the pulls in front. The bunch is actually only in the downhill, so it's still quite far until the point where you were taking a time just right now.
Is that Gerrit on the front, isn't it?
Yes, that's Femke in front.
Or Gerry, as you're not allowed to call her.
I have to apologize to the world. Femke Gerrit, so for me it's Gerry. Her nickname is Gerry. So if I said yesterday during the whole race Gerry, I'm sorry for that.
I'm sure everyone will understand. Bear in mind you've been teammates for a few years. This is certainly not going at any kind of pace, really, is it? It's certainly over a minute, that gap. Yeah,
I think they are still 20 seconds away from the part where you took the point, so I think we are between 120 and 130 seconds away. So the time gap we have here on the top is definitely a little bit wrong. But it's also then maybe now the last moment for the group to relax a little bit, because as I said, this is the point you could actually have.
Yeah, so it's closer to 2 minutes.
I think it's at least 1:30, 1:35.
Yeah.
So the front group now is actually a perfect moment before the final to relax maybe a little bit without having the speed dropping down completely. Pretty sure we're going to see some attacking going on this part the last time we go up, or on the climb just after the finish now.
And there's that tight turn off to the right, and they'll be able to see that the peloton are nowhere near them here. Obviously, they'll be getting it in their ear as well, but they'll be able to see that the gap is their advantage is big. Just Harbelin, she was fishing around in her pockets for a gel, but she's not. She's just dropped off the back there, but I think it's purely from the fact that she was looking for a gel, and it looks like a shutdown here. The teams on the front have all got representatives of the road. The teams on the front have also tried to get across and been unsuccessful. So I think this could be a decision made that it's not coming back by those teams. They know it's not going to come back, and the front of the race, or he speaks and something else happens. Don't they call that commentator's curse? That's Femke Gerrit just opening up the taps there on this climb. Again, just splitting the peloton. This is such a big commitment. You've got 21 kilometres to close down a gap that we know is nearer to, is somewhere between 130 and 150 probably. And Gerrit is stretching it, but is she going to break it? She's not going to want to drag the rest of the peloton across with her. So
no,
she'll keep it going a bit.
Either she wants to go with a little group, or she needs to leave it. For me, it didn't really look like it. It's still a very, very strong effort she did. Don't get me wrong, but by the end of the race, everyone also knows that they only have a few riders to react. The surprise effect is also gone, and then you don't have a effect.
Bit of a breakdown in communications here. In that, I noticed that the front four were going through, but the rear four of the breakaway there weren't going through. So as a consequence, there's just a bit of a breakdown. Are there riders thinking that they're going to be able to attack in the near future and maybe force a selection out of leading group. That's what I'd suggest. Or they're just tired and they can't hold the wheel, or they don't want to have to hold the wheel. Another attack there from SD Works. That is Barbara Goriski, just getting a little gap there. One of the Liv Alula Jayco Continental Team riders just trying to close her down. And on the wheel, but no one's going to descend like Barbara, are they? Through these technical parts. The woman can ride a bike, can't she? She's incredible.
Yeah, I trust her wheel, but I could understand that the girl just behind her is
doesn't.
Not so fitting, feeling comfortable right now.
And like you said earlier, it's stop, start, stop,
Yeah,
start.
but now Femke will try and counter it from the back.
Yeah.
To be honest, this really looks like to me like they don't really trust the sprinting abilities. I'm sorry, I always get this wrong word.
Abilities or capacity would work.
Yeah, whatever. Her sprinting, they don't really trust on her sprinting, else they would not try to create a new situation from behind. But until now, it doesn't really work.
No. I can't see who the Volker Wessels rider coming through is, but again, it's if we're inside 20 kilometres to go, I think this is a done deal. So we are 20 kilometres to go. This leading group of 8 riders with all the main teams represented have a lead of at least 1 minute 30 coming into the last 4 or 5 kilometres of this, the penultimate lap. Got Team Car there coming through from Visma Lease Bike. It looks like some of the others might be trying to come through, but they should be allowed through with this advantage.
Yeah, it looks like they are waiting to get some space to pass.
Yeah. They got Burlova from Cofidis there, just leading through that final bend, and I think the only place to attack and get a gap will be on the climb just here. But then you have 15 kilometres to try and close down a gap of 90 seconds.
I don't think there will be someone can go solo.
No.
I don't think there's one rider so much stronger than everyone else. But I do think that it's possible to bring this group down to 3 or 4 riders. But not necessarily on the climb here after the finish. I think it's going to be more of a longer effort with a good kick in the beginning, and then it should split apart on the last part once you turn back on this big road. At least that's what I would try. And if I would feel strong, I would still put a very high pace on this climb just to add a little bit more tiredness to the legs of the others. But I think you might lose one here, but you will not go away with a group of 3, I think.
Cusack finally got a feed from her team. You saw her take a bag. You can see Goriski smacking her own backside for some reason, probably trying to get the blood flow to work.
The time gap is pretty okay now.
Yeah.
We are around 1:30, 1:35. With actually not really a super commitment behind. It looks like without incidents, the winner should be sitting in the front group here.
The thing with Visma Lease Bike, I think every one of their riders has made an effort. We just saw Veenhoven on the front. We've got Reinhout there on the right of the peloton as we look at it. So everyone's made a bit of an effort. Interesting, a little clutch of US riders here. Schmid and I think Murugal. No, I'm not sure that is Murugal actually. It just there hasn't been a long enough chase that's actually achieved any return, is there?
Now we have a Minimax now here trying to bring a little bit speed back, or at least a regular speed. Maybe to motivate someone to come and join them. But with one rider committing to it, that's definitely not enough to bring an 8 group rider back.
And she has no teammates anywhere in sight, really, does she?
I see one
yeah,
there on the left.
yeah.
She probably has still 1 or 2 left, but
it's a fairly big peloton. Bear in mind, we've seen it fall apart and come back together a few times now with the pressure of the attacks on the front. But there they have, there they are, our leading group, still working pretty well together. I'd just be interested.
It starts to be a little bit less well, to be honest.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if everyone's working. Cusack looks like she's going to take her turn, and she's been the one that's been on the back. She's been the one that's been struggling the most. A little shake of the legs there from Katarina Sadnik in the Visma Lisa bike. And Nina Berton having it. Is this a tactics meeting, do you think?
I don't know. You try, of course, to find friends.
Yeah.
Also in a breakaway. Maybe that was just. How do you still feel? Do you want to try? I have to go to try and do something more out of this. I don't need to wait for the sprint, and then maybe Nina said, okay, we try. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, still the Minimax team are still trying to close it down, but I mean, there's a kilometres distance between the two teams, between the two groups, and I think this is it. But I've said it 100 times already, so I'll try not to say it again, folks. But 1 kilometre to go until the leading group reach the final 15.6 kilometre lap of this race. Will anyone try and get away on any of the little inclines and try and make the difference, or do they all trust their sprint? I think some of these riders in the front there will know their fate. If they can't get away, they're not going to win, don't they?
Yeah, there's only one who can win, so there will be 7 disappointed girls. Yeah, there's. I think it's over 1:30 now.
Yeah. We'll get a clock on it as they come through past us, right on the finish line here in Garnish, just outside, just to the southwest of Luxembourg City. And I have to say this, if you've been watching the race too intently, you might have missed some absolutely beautiful countryside. I do wish that every year I remembered to come a day early with my bike and ride the randonnée on the Friday, and get some miles in around here. There's a good mixture of terrain as well, isn't there? There's some steep old climbs. You head north of the country towards the Belgian border, and there's some longer climbs as well, aren't there?
Yeah, the randonnée goes direction Attelbruck, which is more to the north, and then it comes back direction the Belgium border. I did it, and I'm still trying to recover from it. So, but you can come next year.
Did you do it on the gravel bike?
No, I was on the road bike. They also have 3 gravel gravel laps. Since last year they do that.
Minimax still on the front. Our clock is running here on the finish line, but 15.4 kilometres to go, and very, very shortly we're going to see the leading group head up the main climb of the day for the final time. Is anyone going to try and get away? Is there going to be any alliances formed between those riders at the front to try and get a significant gap? Attack there from Steffi Harbelin, just going up the climb there. Away, but there's nothing's breaking. Nothing's breaking. Everyone's trying to get. Cusack again is just sliding backwards, but this isn't terrain that entirely suits her. Harbelin that's a big effort from Steffi Harbelin there. Back in the saddle she gets, and she's still putting the power in, but there's no significant gap made there. You've got on her wheel, you have the UAE rider.
Yeah, we lost the American rider now though on this. It's exactly what I said. It's not a climb which is long enough to make a difference or to ride literally away with a group. You might lose 1 or 2 from the back, which is what happened.
Yeah.
But no, it's also.
But it's backed off, isn't it?
Everyone is looking at each other because it was though a quite big effort. Yeah.
Fassa Bortolo just leading through along the finish straight here, but everyone's looking to each other. I think Cofidis were the only team who could have done it, and they just didn't appear to have the legs, did they? As they've gone through here. There goes the bell ringing. 1:39 is on my clock there. as they come past us, parked up in our little commentary box by the side of the road here through Garnich. It sounded like one of the motorbikes might have run out of petrol. I hope not. Hope we don't lose our pictures. All the cars are coming through. That lovely old Renault that Faso Bortolo have had for a few years. This is another move here. Cofidis just going to try and make a difference on this final ascent of the Route B. There's Femke Gerritsen there as well, Rosita Reinhout. They're all putting an effort in, but making a gap, bringing a gap of 1:38 back. I think it was 1:38 back over such a short period is virtually impossible. Good representation of teams here at the front, trying to make that difference, but this isn't coming back. Be good to see the front of the race, just see how they're working together. Hopefully that motorbike hasn't run out of petrol. No, it hasn't. Nina Berton on the front. They've got their team cars behind them now, sweeping through the bends, heading on to the back of the course, the sort of southernmost part of the course, really, and heading to the more challenging parts on the narrower roads, which, of course, affects them much less.
Cusack, she got dropped, but she's back.
Is she back?
She committed on the chase.
That's a hell of a ride from her. She's been dropped 3 or 4 times, and every time she's got back on. I mean, to not sort of lose your morale as well when that's happening. It's
a brave ride by a very young rider.
Yeah.
This is also the same. You have to make those races count, huh? If you only have a few races on the calendar, you have to make the best out of it. And even if you get dropped here and you don't, even if you don't come back, you have to ride through and become 8th, because 8 is also still a great result. And I guess that's what she has in her mind. But until now, she managed to always come back. And as long as you're there, there's hope for more.
The youngest in that leading group, of course, is Magdalena Leis. Who is 18 years and 232 days, it says on Pro Cycling Stats. This is just control now from SD Works, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they all tried. Bobby tried, Femke Gerritsen tried, Marta Lach tried. To me, it's. I said this already 40 k's ago that it's a written story, and to be honest, I think it really is.
Can just see the SD Works rider, the Swiss national champion, Steffi Harbelin, just talking on the radio. She's tried, and if you can't get away, you can't get away. You're going to have to settle in for a sprint, aren't you? And
yeah, but it's not done. It's not done yet. It's not because there's this wall that there's nothing else on the lap. We have now this little part which is a little bit painful in your legs, but then especially the last part where you have three kickers one after each other, where you could make a difference if you are a little bit stronger than the others. So I do believe she will try it. As some others as well. Yeah. I could also think that Nina would also try it. She's at home. She knows these roads really well. She's an excellent climber. She also has a good kick on these little kickers. So I also think she will also try. She's also the kind of person who prefers to lose than not to try, which is a good state of mind. And I'm just now a little bit impatient.
And interestingly, a lot of these riders in that front group are a similar kind of profile. They're punchy climbers.
Yeah, apart from the Liv Alula Jaco rider, where I could say she's probably the best sprinter here, all the others, I really could not tell you who is better in a sprint or not. So knowing that, I would not risk a sprint. I would try to make the difference before.
She's not shy of coming through, though, Boothman. At least she's still coming through. But Cusac's still coming through. And she, having been dropped 3 or 4 times, has every excuse not to come through. But she's still coming through. I think that's a great ride from the US team rider. Such a only 19 years old. And not 20 till February, so she's only just 19, and she shares a birthday with my wife.
It's a sign.
Yeah. I shall report back to Mrs. Rogers and say that that she did well, because when I did my prep, I noticed the birthday. I mentioned it to my wife.
No one is having a birthday this weekend.
No, I checked that. Yeah, there is one birthday tomorrow, but none today. So just to wrap up with, Lice is the winner of the sprints competition, who's in the breakaway. Magdalena Lice is the winner of that, and on the climbing competition, that was won by the Visma Lisa rider Margot Vigier. As it is, we're just coming to 10 kilometres to go. 1:38 is the gap, there or thereabouts. It's not an exact science. All the cars.
Well, it normally is.
Yeah. all the cars lined up behind this group. It would be an absolute tragedy if one of these were to puncture or drop their chain here. It would be.
Yeah, it
unfair,
would be bad to be in the breakaway on this course that made it since in a winning breakaway, which never happened really here, I think. So yeah, would be disappointment to have a mechanical now and to lose all chances to either still go for a little breakaway or to do a proper sprint.
Berton looks to be doing quite a lot of the work on this final lap.
I do believe she's one of the strongest in this group.
Yeah.
So, and also coming from a World Tour team. So, of course, everyone is also looking a little bit at her. Already, she's from here, so she has a sign on her back, and everyone knows that she's a good wheel to take because she's motivated, and also she has the legs to do well. So it's just normal that they are looking at her.
Especially when the gap's this large, and it's not. They know it's not coming back. So.
Yes, it's a big gap, but they also should not play with fire.
So what are the there's so much talk about how racing is controlled from the car in the rider's ears. Were you the kind of rider who liked to be told stuff in the by the sports director, or was it in your team the directors at SD Works? Were they very much trusting tactical decisions?
I think we always had already pretty good communication before the race, so we had different plans in our head, and then we were of course also more experienced rider most of the time in the bigger races, that we didn't need so much input anymore during the race. If there comes input, means something actually went wrong. Yeah. And then it's often input that you actually need, because you're not in the position to know everything. You cannot analyze what's happening behind. You cannot analyze if there was a crash or who's riding full in front. So these infos, you get them from the car, and then you can either you do what you're being told or you can take your own decisions. I think we were always pretty good that we were not, at least not always, controlled by the radio, but. Yeah, it depends on the experience of the rider. If you have unexperienced rider, maybe the need of more information and guidance from the car is actually needed. Yeah. So they go now into the last, the last part where they can make a difference. Now this is the bottom, and now we have three kickers coming right one after each other. So Jumbo is going for it, not Jumbo. Yep. Excuse me.
Sadly goes for it. Yeah. On the subject of communications from the car, though, would you expect, you're not in that position, you've not been in that position, but would you expect, there are a number of riders here from development teams, so would you expect them to be getting that little bit more guidance in their ear? They're 19 years old, and they're not experienced of basically racing with the big girls. Would you expect that, or obviously it depends on the team and the director? Will it be a case of let them make their own mistakes? But there's a win on the line here.
No, I think at this moment at least they all have something in their ear.
Yeah.
Because they are 7k away from winning a race, and that's not nothing for anyone of these riders. So also as a DS behind in the car, you want only the best for your girls, and then you give the instructions, which you think are the best.
And how much communication comes from your teammates in the peloton?
I think at this moment there's only goes the peloton is standing still. You go for the win. Trust in your legs and do whatever you can do.
But during the course of the race, if you've got someone up, if your team has got someone up the road, would the girls behind be saying, well, so and so's just attacked to try and chase you down, that kind of stuff?
Yes, yes, because that's the information that you cannot have when you're riding in the breakaway. You don't have eyes in your back, so you're always. I was always eager to know what is happening behind, so that I can also adapt my way of riding in the breakaway. If I get the information that there's full speed behind, then I also don't do full speed in front, because I'm pretty sure that it comes back. But if I know that the speed is dropping, well, then I can put a little bit more in.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit disappointed here about the situation, actually, because I think we are nearly there at the top of this climb, and nothing actually really happened.
You had the effort there from Sadnik, but she just got nowhere. Looked over her shoulder, and they were still there. That's Lice, just looking over her shoulder again. Another tall, rangy woman, looks like a power climber and a time trialist. You can imagine her in the future. Oh,
yeah.
Did you hear that?
No, I just think that Steffi wants to go in the last position, that she can maybe do a surprise attack from behind. I have to say I'm disappointed that no one really actually tried. Also, Sadnik, I think that wasn't really. It was just it wasn't a full-on attack. So, well, not everything is lost for not a sprint. It's still possible to put a surprise attack, and when everyone is looking at each other, to bring it back, then you can sneak out. So it's not said that this is. Finishing in a sprint, but to be honest, I am a bit sad that no one tried.
It's certainly eased off here, and riders are starting to look at each other. We're inside the final 6 kilometres now. Boothman's sort of stranded on the front. I'm guessing the message has got back that she's the strongest sprinter, or likely to be the strongest sprinter here. But people are looking back. She's been on the radio back to the car or to her teammates, and only now is it starting to go with Lice just lifting the pace again. And Cusack, for me, the bravest ride of the breakaway, the amount of time she's been dropped and come back on, heading to the front and keeping the pace high. I mean, for her, maybe 6th is a good result. She might.
I think the biggest problem is that in this group, no one has no one ever won a race. If I might be wrong, but they are not winning every day. So they are maybe also for the very first time in a position where they could potentially win. They are all alone. There's no other of their teammates, and then it's also a little bit tricky situation. What do I do?
Certainly pro race.
They never were in this situation. You only learn when you're in a situation, and maybe they don't know how to deal with this opportunity now, and that makes that it's more of a conservative situation.
Here we go. It's an attack there from Lice, just come off the front, and she's making a move there. You see Vollering, you heard the change in the gear as Vollering clicked down and tried to get herself in a better gear to chase down, but that's a decent gap, but she's got to hold this effort. Vollering looks like she wants help, sits up now, and through comes Sadnik trying to close that down. Vollering slips into her wheel, and you've got Lavenu, the French rider, just trying to, well, she doesn't look like she's got it. Lice has got a decent gap here. Is this going to go on this downhill, or are they going to be able to get back on? Cusack off the back again. The poor woman is off the back again. What a ride. What a ride. Lice has got to keep this effort going. She's invested a lot of this already. She needs to keep it going, doesn't she? 4 kilometres now, 4 kilometres, and it looks like she's just being clawed back by Sadnik, who of course is one of the World Tour riders in this group, and is reasonably, I say, experienced. I mean, she's a former mountain biker, Sadnik, so she's not been on the road for too long, in fact. I mean, I think Visma have a habit of that, recruiting riders from other disciplines and other sports even, don't they?
Well, if you have the power, you have the power.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
We are going to have this little last false flat up where we had the feeding the laps before, where maybe there's also still possibility to try and break away.
Sadnik opening out of the saddle, opening up the pace, just lifting the pace a little bit, trying to put a bit of pressure on. And you can see that this group is now strung out. The only way anyone's going to come through is if she flicks her elbow and sits up, and there she goes. Lice doesn't really want to come through. Lavenu sits there as well, with Steffi Harbelin, the Swiss champion there, just easing back off, and the whole pace has gone out of this move now. A look over her shoulder from Lavenu. We've got 3.4 kilometres to go. Boothman stops pedalling. Harbelin takes her last drink. And Berton sits on the back. Lavenu checks over her shoulder. I'm going to look at the camera. We've got an Australian flag just walking past our commentary box, and it's another attack from Lice here. This is another good move, just on that false flat that you spoke about, isn't it?
We start now, the harder part starts now.
And you can just see the angle of the road there. It levels out and then it goes back up again. Sadnik just struggling to close the gap now on Boothman, but she's in the slipstream. You can see the second she stops pedalling that she's being sucked along by the rider in front of her. Everyone looks around. Lice eases off. They all look around at each other. Berton's been very, very clever here at the back, doing nothing. She's been there for a while. She's invested her time, hasn't she, in the opening part of the lap, and now she's conserving herself. Who's the last Luxembourg rider to win any race at Elsy Jacobs? Who is that, I wonder?
Who's that? I don't know. She's being quite patient now. Yeah, I have a hard time telling if she wants to give it a go, or if she wants to fully trust her sprinting, her sprint.
Lice is now stranded on the front, Harbelin on her wheel, and Erin Boothman, who's done nothing for a little while now, hasn't come through. She's just conserving her legs to see if she can become the first Brit to win any of the stages or races at Festival Elsy Jacobs. Lice checking over her shoulder, track sprint style, nothing. No one's going to come through. Sadnik now just rolls onto her wheel. It's all very cat and mouse, isn't it? 2.1 kilometres to go now. Is anyone going to try a long one? Cusack.
Well,
Cusack's doing
at the
well
moment
here.
they are actually really standing still.
Yeah.
I know that we have a 1:38, but it's also still 3K to go. Would be a bit stupid to have to punch.
I love
still back, but
Lavenu just sitting up, having a look over her shoulder. Berton just out of the saddle, makes a move. Lice again. Sadnik moves up onto her wheel, and Lavenu now moves into that slipstream. Berton there. Harbelin, Vollering, and Cusack gritting her teeth, absolutely going for it. This is a good concerted effort now. Sadnik keeping the pace really high. This group staying together with just Cusack just struggling to hold the wheel, but again we sit up. No one's got it in them to keep that pace high. There's no point if you haven't dropped anyone, is there?
No, Sadnik, she has done now 2 or 3 efforts that looked strong, but she always had straight away someone in her wheel, so it was a bit useless. And now we're actually heading down, so the speed will increase automatically. Doing a big difference now is maybe it's maybe a little bit too late now.
Yeah. Berton just tightened her shoes, make sure there's none of that power. Any power she's got left all goes through the cranks and the pedals. Lavenou swings out, takes another look. Lice goes again.
She's doing a lot of efforts. You can also see that the efforts are slowly getting a little bit less stronger, because the first one she had straight away a gap, and now the riders are straight on her wheel.
This is tiny bit naive now. There's no point. She may as well just go to the back and try and do something, or find a place 4th wheel or something. Cusack just using the slipstream to move up. It would be quite amazing.
I wouldn't be surprised if she would put a little something in.
What, Cusack?
Yes.
Yeah. Lavenou is spending a lot of time just looking around, isn't she? Just swinging out and having a look round, and once again the pace is off.
The surprise can only come from the back. You see that the riders, they are too tired now to make the difference from the front. So the only difference someone can make is coming with speed from the back. And that's what Lavenou is trying to avoid, that she gets a surprise from someone that she couldn't see.
Berton positions herself at the back of the group, just freewheeling as they come back in towards CESSANGE. And there's a little gap for these two on the right there, and Lavenou is just having to close this gap on Sadnik and Cusack. Have just got a bit of a gap. Just a little bit of gap, and Lavenou has brought them back again. But that was just sneaking off the front kind of by accident. 1 kilometre to go now. 1 kilometre as they are just on this tiny little rise with Sadnik on the front, taking responsibility on the front. Cusack's moved herself into a good position. You can see now we're just coming in towards the houses. Sadnik stranded on the front. Cusack 2nd wheel, volleying at the back there. Erin Boothman in 3rd or 4th wheel, just sat on the wheel of Lavenou. Another attack here from Sadnik, giving it everything she's got. This is a last-ditch chance. The buildings in front of you are going to be the roundabout that brings them in, and Sadnik's got a gap here. Boothman's being forced to close this gap down. Lice has nothing to stay on Boothman's wheel, but Boothman's looking over her shoulder for help now as we go through. Lavenou is spent into the finishing straight now. Lavenou is on the front, Boothman in 2nd wheel with Steffi Harbelin in 3rd. It's a backing off now. Nina Berton 4th wheel. Just everyone making sure they're in the right gear. Boothman starts the sprint. Harbelin is trying to come over at Boothman. Boothman's going strong, but Harbelin looks to be coming past. Is Harbelin going to come? Harbelin's got the inside of the bend. I think it's going to be Boothman. It's Boothman. Boothman takes the win by a fraction ahead there of Steffi Harbelin of SD Works. What a win for the 19-year-old Scottish rider.
Very nice also, Nina Berton on the podium. It's nice to have a Luxembourg on the podium.
What a win. I did actually say she'd get that. I'm quite pleased with my prediction, because my predictions are rubbish. But that's a good win. This rider, she's 19-year-old Scottish rider on the British team as well for the track. A little congratulation there from Harbelin, but that was a good ride from, and a realisation of her talent, really. I know she's only 19, but to get that kind of win when she's already signed up for the World Tour team for next year is a real confidence boost.
Yeah, she had probably a good month with that podium already in Borsele and now a win here.
Yeah.
That's hopefully giving her a confident boost for what's coming. I have to say, I'm also surprised though by the sprint of Steffi. I would not have given so much on just a sprint of her. So that was pretty brave.
Absolutely gutted though, isn't she?
And Nina, yeah, of course. I'm sorry, but we have a Luxembourger on the podium, which is absolutely
always good.
Always good, yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, it is. I mean, I'm not saying it just because you're stood here, but I always like to see home riders doing well at home, you know.
Yes, because it's not always the easiest races. Everyone does expect that you are being good at your home race, that you prepare this as if it was the World Championship, which is of course not always the case. So sometimes you come also to your home race with a little bit less, and we have the peloton.
Yeah. Here come the peloton. That's the Czech champion Burlova just coming through, and I think that's Barbara Goricki
leading out for Femke Gerritze. Trying to get some sprint training in, even if these positions are not so important anymore for these girls. But it's always a valuable training to train the lead out.
Yeah. Do you really need to train Barbara Goricki though? I think possibly the...
No, but Femke is normally not the sprinter, so for her it's also a good opportunity to learn a little bit and for the next years. Well, it was an exciting race, I have to say. I was not expecting a group to be away, but then also a little bit disappointing for me that the group didn't try to be a little bit more active by the end. But I guess also the weather and the pace during the whole day made that the legs just weren't there anymore to do one good attack to go to the sprint with 3 and instead of 8. But I think it's a deserved winner also for the team. They did a great race yesterday, and it's only a good thing that they get a deserved win.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Can see the photographers just trying to work out which of the live riders it was that won, so they can get the right shot for later. In fact, that particular photographer was the first person I ever spoke to when I came to the first race I worked on. Good win there for Liv Alula Jaco Continental team. Erin Boothman taking her first career pro win after coming pretty close very recently at the Omloop van Borsele in Belgium. So just down the road, really. And she's come along and won her first race. Just going through the sprint there, she's super strong. So was Harbelin, but Berton as well. That's an impressive sprint. But then the two riders in 4th and 5th are the two that have put so much effort in trying to get away earlier.
Yeah, to be honest, I think they could have done a little bit better if they would just have focused on the sprint. They looked like quite strong, but they tried too much too often to get away.
Yeah.
I would say in the last 5K you actually have one shot. You can try it once, and if it then doesn't work, you better just focus on the sprint. And they tried several times, and that's of course something that is missing by the end. So maybe for the future they know. That's Smiley, we call him.
Waving to his mum. Hello, Smiley's mum, if you're watching.
So they maybe should rewatch the film and analyze what they did well, because they actually did well. They were in the good breakaway. They put a lot of effort into to make sure that the breakaway stays away, but maybe missing a little bit a cool head in the last 5K. I think maybe over motivated by the fact that they could potentially win something. Trying too much, but sometimes too much is just too much.
I think between Lice and Sadnik, they must have put in 10.
Yes.
10 efforts in that.
Actually, in the end, it was only the two of them trying to do attacks, and then it's not a surprise that it's those two that are not on the podium.
And Vigier just being called to go to the podium for the Queen of the Mountains competition. And two of the Volker Vessel's team just rolling in the last through the
To the bus. No, they are
to the
over
bus.
line.
Sorry,
They just
yeah,
go,
yeah,
They just go home.
yeah, and get wet kit off and get themselves dry and clean. What's this moment like? You know, immediately after the finish line, is it grim and post-mortems and everyone's unhappy, or is it?
Probably depends on if your plan worked out or not.
Yeah.
If you won the race or if you're on the podium, then it's all nice. And if the day didn't go as expected, especially with this grim weather, then you're rather unsatisfied with your day and you want just to go home. But if everything went well and one of your riders was up there on the podium, then no matter the weather, then there's a good ambiance with the girls.
And what's the first thing on a cold, wet day like today? The first thing you consume, is it food or liquid? Because I'm thinking nice hot chocolate would go down well. Cup of tea.
Welcome to professional sport. I think we're not with the nice hot chocolate anymore. I think they're
Give us some
now
cream
all
on
with
the top.
the cherry juice to get the recovery done. Recovery shake, and then the most important thing is to get as quick as possible something dry on, get into the shower, and go to the massage if there's still some races on the schedule for the next days, or try and catch the plane or the train as quick as possible to go home and start the recovery for what's coming next.
Yeah. Oh, and we did hear that a couple of the riders had been down and were in the ambulance, and it looks that rider there from the World Cycling Centre is looking okay. At least she can walk, though she did appear to have a bandage on her leg. Well, what a day that was. The second day of the Festival Elsy Jacobs. We rolled out at, 1:30, didn't we? And it was a fairly easy start. I say easy start. There was a crash early on the first lap, and then the pace started to lift. One of the Visma Lisa bike riders, Sadnik, I think that was one of those that went down in that crash. So to come back and finish on the in the top 5. It was Sadnik, yeah. She
crashed on his first.
The pace lifted, and then the race became just a constant stream of attack after attack after attack. With Visma Lisa Bike certainly doing an awful lot of the work to get away. And then finally, this group of 8 riders formed. Steffi Harbelin, Katarina Sadnik, Lydia Cusack, Magdalena Leis, Bodine Vollering, Nina Lavenue, Erin Boothman and Nina Berton. And despite massive efforts from the teams behind and occasional cases where they weren't quite working as well together as they could, they just couldn't be brought back, even by I'd suggest two of the strongest riders in the race, in Martelac and Margot Vigier. They weren't coming back. And then, of course, Peritza tried. And then on the final lap, it was down to the climbing style riders to try and make a difference and try desperately to close that gap down. But there's nothing doing. Nina Berton took the responsibility early on that final lap. But then it was down to Katarina Sadnik and Magdalena Leis to just try and get away, try and form another selection on this final lap. Over and over, the pair of them tried, one German, one Austrian. At least they could talk to each other. But it came down to the sprint, and as predicted, the strongest sprinter in the race was 19-year-old Erin Boothman from the Live Alula Jaco Continental team. The 19-year-old Scottish rider taking her first professional win and celebrating in, well, as in much style as you can in sopping cycling kit, her teammates. And here's your top 10. Erin Boothman is first, Steffi Harbelin second, Nina Berton, Magdalena Leis, Katarina Sadnik, Bodine Vollering, Lydia Cusack, Nina Lavernou, Femke Heritza and Valentine Fortin. That's your top 10 for this year's course at Luxembourg, here at the Festival Elsy Jacobs. We think it's still raining. We think it's still raining, but I think it's about time they went for the podium. We went and get another... I'm up for a sausage from a flight home, if I'm honest.
I think I will try to avoid.
Really?
But
you know
yeah,
what goes in there.
it was a pleasure to have you here in Luxembourg. I hope you enjoyed the races despite the rain. I think we had 2 exciting races with 2 very deserved winners. I couldn't be happier to have a Luxembourger on the podium today with Nina Berton. I think it's always nice to see the local heroes get some results, get a first podium at international level. I'm very happy for her, and that was a nice weekend.
Well, we certainly hope you all enjoyed watching these races along with us, and we certainly also hope that we'll be back next year to bring you more from the Festival Elsy Jacobs. In the meantime, thank you very much and goodbye.